Sorry, I thought I heard something. If you'd like to skip all of the story time and just get straight to the actual review portion of today's film, I will try to put a note or a picture or something. I don't know. I'm using iMovie on my phone. It's really difficult. I haven't managed to get all the fine details ironed out there, but hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Harley Nouveau. If you did not know, you might be asking yourself, why am I wearing such a hideous, like, douchey frat boy, like, polo? A funny story, actually. A while back, I was in Dallas visiting Jasmine, and I went to go do something because she had a photo shoot because she's a model. And I was at the gas station pumping gas, and I heard this weird noise, and I turn around and there's this lady pumping gas, and she projectile vomits all over me. Like, all over my shirt. Not this shirt. Wish it had been this shirt. And obviously I was disgusted, so I immediately got in my car and left, but I wasn't able to go back to Jasmine's place because she wasn't home, and she has like a gated community kind of thing, and I didn't have any clothes in my car. So out of desperation, I went to a nearby Goodwill, and I called them on the phone and asked if they could bring out a shirt to me in my size, and then I can walk in with them and pay for it. And the lady actually agreed, but it was like 15 minutes before close, so she probably just was over it. This hideous, whatever you call this, is the byproduct of that experience. And since I'm doing an orange-themed look, I figured salmon and peach, kind of orangey, so there you have it. That's why. And today I'm going to give you, you could call it my first dedicated review video, because normally, and I went over this a little bit in my tutorial I just did recently for the slice of life makeup look, feel free to check that out. I've been doing my eyeshadow palette reviews and my reviews overall with kind of like a little tutorial in the middle of it and then reviewing my thoughts, so it was more of a first impressions. If anything, I want to try out a different kind of format, if you will, where I do a dedicated look and then I do a separate review video, just so I don't feel like I'm having to cram everything into one video overall. I know people like Cole's World can pull that off in like 14 minutes. He's a professional, and I'm definitely not. Also, I had a few people tell me, not in the comments because people are rude and they don't want to comment, that my earring was more fall themed and made no sense with summer, but I don't have any other orange earrings. On to the actual review. If you couldn't gather from my look, my last look, and the title of this video is going to be on the Colourpop Orange You Glad eyeshadow palette. This is a 9-pan monochromatic palette. It is one of like 4,000 9-pan monochromatic palettes from them. After this one came out, they released a strawberry one, which I do have, and a peach one yesterday, which I have not ordered yet because I'm not rich, and they have a new release like every 3 seconds. It's hard to keep up with, you know? But Orange You Glad, I'm trying my hardest. I already made that joke before. So the Orange You Glad eyeshadow palette. You know we had to bring the zest. Our new orange 9-pan palette is here and ready to deliver on all the looks, featuring all brand new shades in 6 mattes, 2 metallics, and 1 pressed glitter. You'll be set all summer long. So this is what the box looks like. I actually really think it's super cute. On the back, as always, they do have a layout of the different colors and their names. They have the logo up there. I mean, it's simple, but it's effective. I like the orange slices of the D. The actual palette itself looks exactly the same as the box. A little bit of a lighter shade of orange, and when you open it up, you have the reflection of that painting. Your typical 9-pan layout. The past few ones, and I think the strawberry shake one, have been doing the pressed glitter in the middle. However, I want to say the peach one that they just released does have it in a different location, but as you can clearly tell, 9 colors. You got your 2 metallics right here, the glitter, and then the 6 mattes. Overall, I'd say that I really do like the color story on this. There are a few standouts for me, which are this one right here, that one right there, and I actually really do enjoy the glitter, believe it or not. You probably can't tell because I used a very minimal amount of it, but I do have some on my inner corner, but as I've told you before, I'm a hypochondriac and I don't want to lose my eyes, so. As with all of the monochromatic palettes that I've played with so far, all of the colors are magnetically in this plastic case here, so if you do want to unpan them and make like a giant Z palette with the different monochromes, feel free to do that. I don't have the time or effort or care, frankly, to commit myself to such a monumental task. So first you have Zested, which is a matte apricot color. I don't know how well you can see that because, you know, my setup. Reminds me of the peach color in a crayon box. Next we have Squeeze Me, which is a metallic yellow orange with a gold flip. Really do like the Colourpop metallic formula. I feel like it's super smooth and buttery. It's not very dusty, chalky, and just it slides on really well. It has a good amount of payout as well. Then you have Creamsicle, which is a matte peachy orange color. Rise and Grind, which is a matte vivid orange. It does come off a little streaky, but it's also really hot in here and I'm sweating. That could be helping, or not helping with that. That could be attributing to that issue. Clementine, which is an orange glitter with a copper flip. Sunkiss, which is a neon matte tangerine. Sunkiss, that one was one of my favorite ones in the palette. Tangerine Dreams, which is a metallic mid-tone red orange. Mimosa Mommy, which is a matte bright red orange, like scarlet crayon color. And then Yapeel Me, which is a matte mid-tone rust color. And that is all of that. Now, when I proceed to review this in the next few seconds, I'm probably going to point at the colors a lot. So, sorry. I've used this quite a few times, as one should before properly reviewing something past the first impressions. And I will say off the bat that there are definitely some higher performers than the others. Going in order, Zested right here, which was the matte light apricot color. I feel as though, and I've noticed this with a lot of the lighter Colourpop colors, and this may be common sense, but when you put it down on your skin, it comes out quite a bit darker than it reads in the pan. Like, I don't know if you can tell, I actually have it like on the outer edge here, but it almost looks like a natural contour kind of, not because it's a shadow, but just because it looks like your skin, but a little bit darker, if that makes any sense. When you apply it with the brush, it doesn't read so much as apricot anymore, as it just reads as though your skin got darker. And I feel like that's a shame, because I think in the pan, it's actually a really pretty color. Now, for Squeeze Me, I actually have that on right now underneath the glitter, which to me, again, is kind of strange, because I feel like when you look, I do think that it comes across really sheer sometimes, which metallics be like that sometimes. I wish that it was slightly more pigmented. I feel like the other metallic, which I'll get to in a second, came across a lot better. In my Slice of Life makeup tutorial, I stuck to specific colors in the palette, which you remember if you watched it, I told you that I was really trying to stick to these three. So for this look today, I just stuck to those three mostly, with a little bit of that. And I have to say, it's very fall vibes. I was pretty impressed, but Creamsicle is another one that comes off quite a bit more sheer than you would think it would, which, if you're somebody that's into buildable pigment, it's an amazing thing. Or if you're heavy-handed like I am, it's a good thing, because you aren't going to immediately go too far to come back from. But again, I kind of wish that the payoff with a brush was more accurate to pan. For Rise and Grind, I think that one actually performed really well. I have that right here, which I'm sure you could tell. Blended out amazingly. All of them blend out really well. I do like the, almost kind of reads similar to this. Like there's a little bit of that mixed in, but I like intense coloration. I wish I could take this off. For the glitter that I warned you about, because I told you that it's large grade glitter chunks, I like the way it looks on camera. You can't tell it as well in person, but it applies surprisingly finer than it does look in the pan. However, there are still some big chunks in there. I found that out the first time I used it, because I had to remove it with tweezers before it got into my eyeball. But it applies very smoothly too. I would probably stick to being very minimal with it, or putting it along your cheekbone, along your lips if you're going to, I don't know, whatever you want to do with glitter. It's your prerogative, it's your face. I actually think that Sunkissed and Mimosa Mama are the most true to pan performing colors in the palette, because when you do use a brush, they look almost exactly the same. Now, you do have to be careful, because you can't over apply the pigment. Like, you can't go 0 to 100 real fast, but I like that you see what you get when you look into the pan. It's not going to be one of those situations like the Jackie Aina palette, where depending on what you look like, the color is going to come off way different on you than it does in the palette itself. Tangerine Dreams, I think, I said that a second ago, I do think that this is the better performing of the two. Not just because I do like the color a bit more, but I feel as though it comes off a little more opaque and a little more intense with the color payoff. And then, as I said, Mimosa Mama is another standout in the palette. It's very true to pan. They all blend amazingly. And then my runner-up for least favorite, though, out of all these colors would be You Peel Me. I feel as though, and maybe it's just me, I have it on my eye. Again, it's a situation of where it comes across sheer, but not only that, it comes across way more brown in the palette than it does on the eye to me. Maybe that's just me. I feel as though this one requires the most effort to get an even pigmentation out of it and a true pigmentation out of it, because it obviously it's very pretty like fall brown color, but going in with it, it starts off very pale, almost similar to Rise and Grind. It almost looks like that, it's slightly more muted, and you have to like work your way up. And I used a packing brush to try to get maximum payout on it, and it still was a bit of a chore. So if you're somebody that really was looking forward to doing like a more fall themed makeup like that, just be aware. I do think that the whole palette performed really well. I haven't really encountered a Colourpop palette that I dislike so far. I do think that you've only seen me use two, but the yellow one is still my favorite. I might actually do a ranking when I'm done with all these reviews, but it performs great. The glitter was surprising. I will say, when it comes to the color story overall, if you were somebody that was getting this palette because the colors right here really spoke to you, because you wanted to try a more summery themed look, you'll be very impressed, because the bright, vivid colors I think perform the best out of the entire palette. But the, I guess you call them autumnal, like fall colors right here, I would say those are probably the most disappointing to me, because I feel as though, like I said, the pigmentation is kind of lacking. They are a little bit sheer. You do have to build them up quite a bit. For the metallics, I don't really have any qualms with those. I do think that Squeeze Me is the lesser of the two, but they both perform really well. It could just be the coloration on this versus that one. This is more of a neon, and it pops out a bit more. The glitter, if you're someone that's into glitter, yay for you. I'm trying to be brave and work my way there, but it's gonna be a minute. Did you like how all that was? I feel like I had a little bit more room to breathe when I wasn't like rushing through the makeup thing. Maybe it was a bit redundant. I don't know. Like I said, I know that I'm like 20 videos in on this channel, but I'm still kind of finding my stride. I'll get there one day. But overall in review, the Orange You Glad eyeshadow palette, monochromatic 9-pan, mouthful, Orange You Glad, Colourpop. It's a happily ever after for me. The disappointments I did have with it, like I said, the more muted tones in the palette performing a little bit under my expectations isn't enough to make me not want to buy it. They still are beautiful colors, they still look amazing, they still blend very well. It's just a little bit more effort to get there as opposed to the more intense, vivid colors in the palette. The glitter, I probably won't use it, but I can see myself reaching back for this quite a bit, which was my intention when I got all these monochromatic palettes. Yeah, if you're somebody that's looking into a cheap, it sounds bad, a bank account friendly investment for a more orange themed eyeshadow look, stop by Colourpop. Give it a try. You probably won't be disappointed, unless you are, in which case, get a refund, I don't know. Please like, share, subscribe to my channel. I don't have a song for you. I'm not tacky like that. But if you had any thoughts about the way this turned out, your thoughts on the palette overall, your thoughts on specific eyeshadows, or you just want to talk, feel free to comment down below. I love interacting with you guys. The few of you that interact with me. I love getting opinions that are different from my own. Subscribe to my channel. Add your name to the story that is my life. So with all of that being said, I am Harley Nouveau, and until our stars next time.